you're doing well. I'm filming in the evening, which I don't normally do, but that is because I'm making a very chill video. So I read this book recently, and the author talks about a self-care toolkit that she uses to manage a lot of her anxiety, her triggers, her stresses, and I thought it was so interesting and something that we kind of all need right now. This has not been an easy year for anyone, let alone people who are struggling with the virus itself in its many forms and the many impacts it's having. And so I put together, kind of without even realising, a self-care toolkit through which I can look after myself when things get tough. Some things are more immediate and some things are habits and routines I've built. And I thought I'd share some of the ones I'm working on now today. Obviously this will probably change over time, but right now, this is the toolkit that I've put together. I'd like to thank Pandora for sponsoring this video. I will tell you more about their icons collection later in the video. Let's just jump right in. So in true YouTube style, I would say a lot of these tools are part of my morning and evening routines, which is just, oh, the irony, I can't. And one of those main ones is taking my Simprove and my supplements. So if you've been following me for a little while, you might know that I take a probiotic every single morning. It's incredibly helpful for my gut. I have a little bit of a dodgy gut, but also I've realised it really helps me create routine and create a pattern of behaviour that helps ground me at the beginning of my day. I feel like in lockdown I kind of realised I had not created any routine and this was detrimental to my life and my lifestyle, and on top of that realised that I now had even less routine than the minimal things I created. So taking my probiotic was one way that I found really helped me create routine where there wasn't much. And in addition to that, I would add my supplements. So in February, I had a blood test and found out I was B12 and vitamin D deficient. I ended up getting vitamin D and getting B12 and taking them every day. I say nearly every day, let's be realistic. 5 days a week. It has dramatically impacted my energy levels. Obviously, speak to your doctor before you start taking anything, but it really helped me nurture myself and my body and has been a tool that has drastically helped my energy levels and my mental health. So now I see taking my supplements as part of my toolkit and also as helping me create part of my morning routine. Now we move on to an even more YouTuber-y tool, which is also a part of my morning routine, funnily enough, and that is exercise. So if you follow me a while, again, you'll know I was dabbling in exercise. I was probably exercising 2 to 3 times a week during the past year. Lockdown made that a different story entirely. I found that because we couldn't leave the house very much, along with the fact the little bit of routine I had was completely upended, I was really struggling with my sleep and my energy levels. And then I introduced exercise. I got on the spin bike every morning, like I would say at least 5 days a week. Getting on the spin bike every morning as soon as I woke up just helped me level out my moods and also helped me burn off some energy so that I slept better. It really impacted my sleep in a really positive way. Now, however, the bike has returned to its true home. So now I'm doing strength workouts and I'm doing yoga workouts probably 3 times a week. I'm really enjoying them. I have a bit of arm muscle now. And again, like taking my probiotic, it helps me feel like I've achieved something right at the beginning of the day. So let's talk anxiety management tools. I think over the past couple of months, I've accepted just like the fundamental impact anxiety has had on my life. I don't think I really realised and added it all together just how momentous and important it's been. And at the moment we're in an okay bit, but it hasn't been amazing. So anxiety management tools have become very important again. So there are some that I was taught by my therapist, like tapping, but for some reason I've never been able to find a document online that explains it in the way that like it was taught to me. So I'll choose not to talk about that because I don't want to get it wrong. However, one thing I have learned to do when I've noticed panic rising is to ground myself. Grounding myself is key, and some people do this by feeling and using their senses. So smelling what's in the air and focusing on that. Listening and hearing what's going on and trying to focus on that. Focusing yourself back into where you are. And then I also do this technique of focusing on memory. I think being able to put yourself in a happy place or memory is a really good way of smoothing over, riding the waves of adrenaline and kind of centering yourself back to where you are. So the lovely people at Pandora actually sent me these 2 charm bracelets which are full of charms that root me back to certain memories and really special places in my life. It was so considerate of them and so kind. So I'd love to talk to you about just a couple of them. I've got some ballet shoes on here and they take me straight back to my first ballet classes when I was younger, and our teacher always gave us like little refresher sweets, and I'd have them, and like all I associate ballet with now is like beautiful point shoes, satin, comfortable clothing, and refreshers. I loved ballet. I had such a wonderful community there as a child, and it was just like a really warm, loving experience for me in a really nice, nurturing environment. I always hold it dear, and it feels like a very safe place to me. And then on top of that, I've got my Eiffel Tower, which reminds me of my first ever solo trip to Paris. My first ever solo trip, full stop. As you might remember, I went to Paris after just a particularly eventful period in my life, and I took myself away because I realised I don't need to wait for a man to take me to Paris. I can take myself to Paris, and I had such a wonderful time. I really spent time with myself, and it was just such a growing, confidence building experience for me. I also have some Minnie Mouse ears on here. The first time I went to Disneyland as an adult was such a positive experience for me. I think I was 22, and I went with my friend Dodie and her friend Shannon, and we did everything that they love doing. So we had pineapple Dole Whip, and then we went on the Rapids rides, and we did all of these really lovely things that are their favourite parts of Disneyland. And then I bought some Minnie Mouse ears, which look exactly like these Minnie Mouse ears on this charm. I felt so peaceful and so free on that trip. And on this one, we've got one of my favourite reminders, which is Harry Potter. Harry Potter was such a big part of my childhood. It was one of the first series of books I ever read. I loved the films. I wanted to be Hermione. And so I've got this Harry Potter charm with a little broom, a little scar, and a pair of glasses on it. When I was younger and my phobias were playing up, I would always turn back to Harry Potter. I'd just read Harry Potter, help me centre, calm myself down. So this little charm reminds me of that. I've also got a February birthstone and amethyst because I'm a February baby. Little Pisces I am. And then I've also got a little owl and a little camera because shooting film always makes me feel so peaceful. It's such a holistic, I don't know, it's just such a lovely experience for me to be behind the camera in a form that people trust that I'm not just going to put straight on the internet. I think it builds the trust with the person I'm photographing, and that makes me feel good in turn. And sometimes I come up with really good photos. I really like the fact I can now wear the experiences that help me stay calm on my wrist. It feels kind of like a What Would Jesus Do band in the best possible way, because it's a little reminder when I look down. It makes me feel more at home. So some of these charms are part of the Pandora Icons launch in connection to the 20th birthday celebration of the Pandora Moments charm bracelet. They've also got a new closing mechanism, which is very exciting. If you're interested in the Icons launch or the 20th anniversary of the Pandora Moments charm bracelet, I'll link everything in the description. So yeah, when I feel my panic rising and I'm worried and I'm in a place where I don't necessarily have some of these other tools around, it really helps to be able to wear those nice memories on my wrist. Okay, the next one is a bit more vague, but also very important. There'll be other people who worked this out years ago, but for me it's very new, so please be kind. I've learned that I need to learn to manage the balance between my social life and my alone time. My parents have always said I'm a massive extrovert, and they're not wrong. I really, really love spending time with people. It's what makes me feel really, really alive. But on the other hand, I need to balance that with a lot of alone time. It's one or the other. I can't just exist around people and be just chilling. That's not really a thing that I do that makes me feel comfortable. I want to be alone, or I want to be properly socialising, chatting, having a deep conversation. I feel like such a Tumblr girl when I say that, but I mean it. During 2020, I realised that in 2019, I was burning the candle at both ends. In fact, I was burning it at 3 or 4 ends. I wasn't leaving any room for time for myself. I was working on my own all day, and then I was going out and trying to socialise to get that social element into my life, and then feeling really burned out and not spending any evenings by myself. By the end of 2019, I knew there was some kind of issue, but it really wasn't brought to my attention until everything slowed down and I realised, oh my God, I needed this time. I need to work out how to carve out this time in the future. Tuning into those needs and making sure I always have some time to myself has made me feel a lot less overwhelmed. Okay, now we move on to everyone's fave, the evening routine. Actually, funnily enough, this is a part of the evening routine. Tea. Specifically herbal tea, something I kind of fell out of love with when I hit 2021. Stopped being something that was even a part of my life. And I read this book and the lady was saying, oh my God, herbal tea is like the saviour for when I'm feeling stressed. Herbal tea now just calms me down, puts me to sleep. And I was like, lol, okay, sure. Now I've been doing it for a couple of weeks. I have 1 cup of this tea and I am ready for bed. I'm soothed, I'm calm. I find I crave it now when I'm anxious. Who is this woman? Who is she? I'm now well into a cup of herbal tea. So I even brought in my favourite to show you. It's Chamomile and Honey, and I don't know why this is so nice. I was never really a chamomile tea person. I used to be a sleepy tea person. But now, this is my jam. I was going to say something else there, but this is a sponsored video. So I don't know about you, but I imagine, like the rest of the world, you're partial to an endless scroll. I know I have struggled for a long time now with moderating my time spent online, specifically on social media, and the way that my mind and my body reacts to social. I can get very sucked in. And I've tried meditating. It hasn't hit the spot yet, but yoga's just started hitting the spot after 3 or 4 years of me thinking it's crap. So maybe I'll be into meditation next time we chat. So endless scrolling is hard to break. However, my Kindle has been really, really helping. My parents bought me a Kindle for Christmas, and I could not have predicted just what a difference it would make to my reading habits. I've more than doubled how much I've read this year over last year, and I actually think I prefer an ebook now to a real book. Please don't judge me. But there's something so convenient about it being portable. Like, I'll go to Jack's while he's watching Formula One and I'll just sit on the sofa and read for the whole of Sunday, and it just really helps me. I don't know what about reading is helping, but it's making such a difference, and I think in part that's because I'm reading ebooks. Obviously it's nice to feel the texture of paper, but also something that's convenient and portable, and you can highlight and save different areas without actually destroying your book. It's so good. And yeah, it just really helps my anxiety to quit the endless scroll, to quit the social media like rat race, and just step out of it and get absorbed into something else. My final tool might be the most important, and that would be journaling. I kept a journal for years and years, I think for about a decade, from when I was 8 to when I was 18. But when I went to uni, I kind of dropped off. Last year, I bought a new journal, and I'll get it for you actually. I'll show you it. A lot of people always want to know what stationery I use, so here we are. This is a Papio Journal. It's got my name on it, and it's got all these lovely little dancers. Pens are very important. This is a 0.38 nib. That's very important. This is the best pen I've used. I use these two. This is my journal. How far in am I? I just do like a nice little bit of like writing, you know? Not only does it help me decompress, because I noticed before I got this that I was loading a little bit too much onto family and my boyfriend. I wanted to be able to manage that better, so it really helps me manage that, but also it helps me process. I feel like after I've written, it really helps me evaluate and reflect on what's going on, just as opposed to just like venting to a friend and getting their feedback. You should still vent to your friends, but you know, not too much. So yeah, that is my self-care toolkit. I hope it gives you some ideas for some of the ways that you can nurture yourself and like more holistically take care of yourself in this crazy year that's been 2020. It hasn't been easy, so well done. Like, well done. Cheers to you. Thank you again to Pandora for sponsoring this video. There will be loads more info about the Icons launch and the 20th anniversary of the Pandora Moments charm bracelet in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're now feeling cool and cozy and ready to tackle the rest of 2020, and I will see you in my next video.